You're hearing my voice right now, but have you ever stopped to think about what that actually is? What is a sound? Well, in the next few minutes, we're going to break down this thing we take for granted. And I promise, by the end of this, you won't just hear the world differently, you'll see it differently too.
So let's really dig into this for a second. Sound is everywhere all the time. But what is the thing that's traveling from, say, a guitar string through the air and into your ears? What are you actually sensing? It all comes down to one really simple but super powerful idea.
Okay, before we get to the really mind-bending stuff, we gotta start with the basics. Let's talk about our ears. I mean, these things are they're amazing little instruments, and they are designed to do one thing, and do it exceptionally well: detect vibrations. In the language our ears speak, it's all about frequency. That might sound technical, but it's not. It's just a count. How many times does something vibrate back and forth in 1 second? That's it. We measure it in hertz. 1 hertz is 1 vibration per second. So anytime you hear anything, your brain is just interpreting how fast the air is vibrating. And get this, the range of what we can hear is, honestly, it's just incredible. Our ears can pick up vibrations as slow as 20 times a second. That's that deep, low bass you can literally feel in your chest. And on the other end, we can hear things vibrating up to 20,000 times per second. That's a piercingly high-pitched squeal. That is a huge, huge spectrum for one pair of ears to handle. All right, so we've got vibrations. Fast ones, slow ones. But how does that turn into, music? Well, our brains are amazing translators. They don't just register fast or slow, they turn those different frequencies into what we all recognize as pitch. It's a super simple relationship, really. A low, booming note from a bass guitar, that's a sound wave with slow, lazy vibrations, a low frequency. A high chirping note from a piccolo, that's a wave that's vibrating like crazy, a high frequency. It really is that direct. Pitch is just your brain's interpretation of vibrational speed. A piano is just a beautiful frequency machine. The lowest key vibrates about 27 times a second, the highest over 4,000. But what's really cool is how we perceive it. See, most of us have relative pitch. We know if one note is higher than another. But some people have perfect pitch. They can hear a note and just know. They'll say, oh, that's an A vibrating at 440 hertz. It's like they have a built-in frequency counter in their brain. Wild, right? Okay, but pitch is only half the story, right? A quiet whisper and a loud shout can be the exact same note. So what's the difference? Well, that other dimension is all about power. It's about loudness, the sheer intensity of the sound wave. So we measure loudness in decibels, which are just tenths of a unit called a bell. But here's the part that kind of blows your mind. The scale isn't linear, it's logarithmic. What does that mean? It means going from 1 bell to 2 bells isn't twice as intense. No way. It's 10 times more intense. And going from 1 to 3 bells, that's 100 times more intense. This is the secret to how our ears can handle both the drop of a pin and a roaring jet engine. So let's put that scale into perspective. Your quiet breathing is about 1 bell. A normal conversation is around 6 bells. Now that doesn't sound like a huge jump, but remember this scale. That conversation is actually 100,000 times more intense than your breathing. And a jet taking off at 12 bells, get ready for this. It's over 100 times billion times more intense than that quiet breath. It's just staggering. This is where it all begins. 0 bells. This is ground zero for our hearing, the absolute faintest sound a human ear can possibly detect in perfect silence. It's our baseline for the entire sonic world. And then there's this, the other extreme. At 14 decibels, we hit the pain threshold. We're talking fireworks, a gunshot right next to your ear. At this point, it's not really a sound anymore. It's a physical force that actually hurts and can cause serious damage. The range between these 2 points is just immense. So we've talked all about sound, vibrations, loudness, but here's where we take a turn. This is where we connect the dots and expand this whole idea of frequency beyond our ears. This, my friends, is the aha moment. So just think for a second. We have these amazing tools on the sides of our head for detecting vibrations in the air. But is that the only kind of frequency our bodies are built to understand? The answer is a huge no. Not even close. Because your eyes are doing the exact same thing as your ears. They're just sensing a different kind of frequency on a completely different scale. Your ears are sound frequency detectors. Your eyes are light frequency detectors. What we call color is just our brain's interpretation of the frequency of light. Now, these numbers are astronomical, right? The lowest frequency of light we see, we perceive as red. That's vibrating at about 400 trillion times per second. The highest frequency we see is violet, vibrating at almost 800 trillion times per second. Every single color you see is just your brain decoding a different light frequency. It's all just vibrations. Okay, so let's zoom out and look at the big picture here. Our senses, our eyes and our ears, are these incredible scanners, constantly picking up information from this huge spectrum of vibrations, from the slow, rumbling waves of sound to the unbelievably fast waves of light.
This is what really puts it all into perspective. A single wave of visible light zips by in a femtosecond. That's a millionth of a billionth of a second. A high-pitched sound wave takes a few microseconds, a low-pitched one a few milliseconds. Now compare all that to the blink of an eye, which feels so fast to us, right? That takes a whole tenth of a second. Our senses are processing reality at speeds we literally cannot imagine.
So we end on this thought. Our hearing has a limit. Our sight has a limit. We can hear from 20 to 20,000 hertz, and we can see from red to violet. But that's just our little window on the universe. What about the frequencies just below our hearing, or just above? What about the light waves just beyond red and violet, infrared and ultraviolet? It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other invisible worlds are flowing all around us right now, completely unheard and unseen?